Scientists and engineers often work in very complex setups, where we need to understand the effect of multiple input factors to achieve a particular goal or output. Because we cannot directly control our outputs, we look to these input factors and hope by understanding their relationship to our outputs that we can control our processes. Whether it's a yield you're trying to optimize, a scrap rate you're trying to minimize, or you need to stay within a certain specification, the goal is ultimately the same. We want understanding. Now, you might be approaching this with an abundance of data at your disposal, or you might have no data available and you're looking to a design of experiment to generate some data. Again, our goal is the same. Because this is so multifaceted, we need an approach that can look at all of our input factors and their correlations at the same time, while showing this to us in a very visual way so we know how to react. The best approach I found to approach this problem is called a prediction profiler. Now let me show you how it works. I have here a prediction profiler that is already done. This prediction profiler was based on historical data, but it might as well have been based on data coming from a design experiment. You can see that this in particular one has 5 input factors and a single output. It has 1 categorical input and 4 continuous inputs. Now I've called these by anonymized names because I want to emphasize that it doesn't really matter what you call your factors. If you have this kind of data, this kind of tool is very useful. Now, what I can do with this tool is I can now in real time, make changes to the levels of my categorical input. I can change the settings of my continuous inputs, and I can see how that affects my output. So whether we're trying to minimize something or maximize something, this is a very useful tool to see how I should alter my process. The reason it's very important to look at your data in this way is that there's something here that would be very difficult, if not impossible, to find with other kinds of analysis. And that is, so notice the reaction to input 4 when I introduce change to input 2. When I change this to a lower setting, all of a sudden the impact of continuous input number 4 changed from something that was very dramatic to something that is not important at all. So if, for example, that this continuous input number 2 is something we cannot control, and by setting it to, let's say that it's a raw material that is being delivered to us, when we get something with a high value, that brings us out of specification below this blue line, and we now to adjust the process in order to get within specification again. I hope that you found this useful. If you're interested to see how this applies to design of experiment or to historical data, there'll be links in the description. Thanks for watching.